So, forgiveness is, we could say, is the curriculum. It's it says you have to forgive your brother and your sister. He doesn't say sister, of course he says brother, but it includes the sister too. You need to forgive the other one for what he did not do. And then the Course teaches us how to work with that in our mind. Because we certainly experience things happen to us, and it seems like they're done to us. It seems like people do stuff to us, and we get wounded and hurt in so many ways here in this world. But he's teaching us that your mind, you're not the body, and the mind has beliefs, and the beliefs are projected as bodies. He says you people the world with your thoughts. So all the world is full of your thoughts. Whatever you perceive is a thought and a belief in your mind. It's not in somebody else's, and this makes it very, very, very simple. Maybe not easy, but simple to know it's all in your mind. It's all in your own mind. It's all in your consciousness. And that's where you can do this work. And that's why he says, forgive your brother for what he did not do. Because the brother that did something to you seemed to be in a body. And you seemed to be in a body when it happened. And he says all of that is a delusion. It's a dream. And you can start to dismantle your dream by starting to face those horrible feelings that are there in the body, in consciousness, in the experience of who you are, and that's everything. Once we know the metaphysics of this, which I will also go into, I feel, we know that all we need to do is to work on our beliefs and emotions. We don't have to know everything that happened in our childhood necessarily. We may find things out, and it may help us to undo beliefs, but we don't have to dig. We don't have to go into finding the inner child and comforting it, our childhood being. I think those things can be helpful, but it's not that everybody has to do that. But we have to allow our emotions and our feelings and stare it in the eye, I would say. Stare it in the eye. Really face the fears. Everything is fear that is not love. So all the emotions, emotions are very mixed, different emotions, but they all stem from fear. So once we learn to face fear and let fear go, and let the Holy Spirit take care of our fear, in a sense we can learn to hand it over. Like he can't just take care of it. We can't just say, can you take care of my fear here? He says, no, I can't, because your mind is so powerful. Your mind, makes you fearful. And I can't step in between your thoughts and their effects. So fear is an effect of our thinking, of our beliefs. And he's saying that I would take away the whole power of your own mind. You need to learn the power of your mind. So you need to see your fears, and then we remove them together. He's with us. The Holy Spirit is with us and wants to walk with us down into the fears and the beliefs. And it's not just maybe fear, it's the beliefs we need to investigate. So many beliefs and concepts that we carry with us. So many concepts, and they're all limiting us. There is just one concept that's helpful, and that is forgiveness. All other concepts are meaningless. All other concepts about what's good and bad even, and what's moral and what's right. What is a good mother or a good father? All of those are just concepts that have to do with the future and the world of form. But when we learn to use just one concept of forgiveness, we naturally are truly good. We learn that we are spirit. And in spirit there is no harm or harmfulness. So we don't have to hold up all those rules and moral standards and, everything. All of that will, dissolve in this power and the light of the spirit. And it's very, very freeing. It's so liberating. And this is the gift of David Hoffmeister in my life. When I met him and learned from him, he taught me all of this. And he is always extending this clarity of what is true and what is not. And this is what I am tuned into now too. And so I was, so I was with David Hoffmeister, and it's been integrated. So he's a living being, a person in the world, but for me also he is. His teaching and his being has become integrated in my mind. We're one mind, and it's the Holy Spirit really. And so he helped me to get clear on all of the metaphysics. And the metaphysical teaching of A Course in Miracles is that the truth is we are all one, and we are all in God, and there is nothing else. So we could go home now, but no, we can't, because we need to be practical and work with the mind where we find ourselves in the world with all the differences that we perceive as, the world and ourselves. So we have to work with it. So, but metaphysically all is one, and that's all that exists. So there is a line there in the Course in Miracles that says, "Into eternity, where all is one, there crept a tiny mad idea, at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh." Crept a tiny mad idea, at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. And he's saying, if we would remember to laugh at the idea of separation, if we would laugh at it as just an idea that is come and gone, because that's what it is. The Holy Spirit was there, is there in the moment we believe in separation. The Holy Spirit has answered it. And it's gone. But that's not all of our experience here. So he's saying that since we forgot to laugh at this, we didn't laugh it away, we bought into this tiny mad idea of separation. We created a universe, the mind projected a universe of form that seems to involve a timeline with a history that is huge, and a future too, that seem to go down, maybe. I've not followed the news much, but I've heard of the, things that go down, and the climate and everything. So that's like the grand illusion. It's called the grand illusion in the Course, and that came about, and I would say it comes about every moment that the mind chooses to believe in separation. Because it's not a big bang thousands of years or millions of years ago. It's because it says the timeline is not even real. Time is simultaneous, and history would not exist if we didn't make the same mistake in the present. That's how powerful the mind is. So in the present, the mind seems to be able to make a mistake that projects a past and a future and a history and the world and the universe and bodies, and it seems like we are here in a room and we are separated from everything else, and we are here sharing some very profound ideas, which is actually undoing time and space right as we speak, which is very amazing, and it's hard to understand, but that's what happens when we join. We heal stuff in the mind, and we don't even know what it is. Maybe it's very, very healing. So the tiny mad idea crept in, and we may ask why. How come that there was a tiny mad idea creeping in, and there is no answer from the Holy Spirit to that question. There is no answer, because from God's perspective, there is no tiny mad idea. From God, from love, you are with Him. And Jesus said, when I woke, you were with me. And I say it, we are joined. There is no separation. So there is no answer for it, and the ego hates that. The ego loves to have answers to all its questions. So the only purposeful way of looking at it is to ask, how do you feel? Do you feel as if you're believing in the tiny mad idea? If you're not supremely happy and peaceful and have completely undone all your blocks to love, if you don't see the timeline anymore, I would say yes, you have bought into the tiny mad idea. And that's all that's important to know. Okay, you bought into it, seem to have bought into it. So we have to work with our feelings now of the result of buying into that. But isn't it immensely comforting to know that that tiny mad idea is not true, that God doesn't know of it, and God just says, you're with me, you're with me, you're with me. That's all God is saying to our mind, and that's all the Holy Spirit wants to convey to us. And the Holy Spirit has a convincing job, for sure, because this world is wild, and people have turned away, and are lost, and it's a lot of misery and suffering and sadness, and so the Holy Spirit has a job to reach the mind, and the Holy Spirit is doing an excellent job in reaching the mind, because it seems to be millions, trillions, billions, whatever, of ways that the mind has deceived itself. And it seems that the Spirit can reach us in the perfect way that we need, It's like finding us, When we are ever so little ready and open in the mind, we will be found. And the more we're ready, the more we'll be found. And if we open completely, we'll be found immediately, and we will transcend the world. It is possible to transcend the world, and it's actually possible to transcend the world in an instant if the mind is willing and ready, but that's extremely unusual. But we can it's good to know that, and we can cultivate. I love cultivating the mind for willingness and readiness for this one thing. So that's the metaphysics. And then, so back to myself. So in 2006, I came to the Peace House to be around David Hoffmeister, and I never left. He picked me up in Sweden, I could say. Spirit brought David to Sweden in 2006 in the summer, and that's when I met him first. And then I sort of forgot about him for 3 months. I didn't forget about him at all, actually, but I forgot about the opportunity to go and be with him, be around him. Because after I had met him, I quit the psychology program, and I just meditated for 3 months. And that's after those 3 months I received the invitation to Fairfield, Iowa. Went there, I had that experience I shared. And for you who's wondering about my son, he moved to his dad before I left, who had a new little family there. He had 2 new sons and a new wife, and my son moved there, and so I came to David after Fairfield, and he said, "Welcome to your first step," David said. And I thought, I've gone pretty deep on the spiritual path. He said, "You're just about to take your first step here." And that was humbling. And then I've had so many humbling steps to take after that, including in the beginning, I had all those ideas about male and female and being misused as a female, like being like a servant or something. That was I'm not sure how strong that was in my mind, but I think many female beings have that idea about, and they are blindly doing that. They're just like homemaids or something. But I had opinions about this, and I was one day, David asked, can you give me a sweater from upstairs? He said, he was downstairs and I was upstairs. And this rose up in me. I got so angry. I just threw this sweater on him down the stairs. I threw it down. And I thought, who is he to ask me for that? And why is he cold anyway if he's enlightened? So, and David approached me almost immediately. He's like, you've been too fixated on form or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was just so present with me, and something in me got terrified immediately when he was addressing me like that. He was like right there with me, and I got terrified. And you know what was terrified? The self-concept. The one that was clinging to this, what do you call it? This idea of how you should treat women and feminism. So I was terrified for a little while, and there was another angel there, another person in the house who was also a student of David's at the time, and he said, I'm going to explain to you. He was so loving, and because I was like, and this is what can happen when if we are ready for something to be pointed out, if we're ready to let go of a layer of a self-concept, we may get terrified for a moment. But this other guy, he started explaining to me how loving David was, and he helped me to calm down. And after a couple of hours, I was not as terrified anymore. I could listen to David again. So that was one of the times, one of the practical things that happened in the beginning. And then it's been many, many, many opportunities for me to face pride and fear and anger, face the ego around David, because my trust in him was so great that I could let him show me so many things in my mind. So it's taken 13 years till now, when I have left the community and the ministry, and I'm just now starting to travel and follow the spirit without an organization or like anybody behind me in form, really. So it's been 13 years of great mind training and practice and undoing. And the undoing of pride, I think, has been going on all the way through, and it's still also the latest thing. It seems to, because pride has to do with a like sense of self and who I am, and we all have some sort of pride in self-concept, even if we don't think we have a good self-concept, or not a good person, or we're not very loved, or we have difficult. It's still pride. It's still something we have chosen to be. Well, maybe that's it as an introduction. Let's see. Did have a couple of notes I took. Yeah, so this theme of guidance is something we can get into. I written something the other day, and now I don't know if I can even talk about it, but I wrote, it's a miracle that I got on this path of awakening because of my huge belief in lack. Ownership is a dangerous concept if it's left to you. That's a line in A Course in Miracles. It says, ownership is a dangerous concept if it's left to us. If we think we can own something, it's a dangerous concept. And I wrote that, and I wrote about my belief in lack. Because I used to have a huge belief in lack, and I felt almost like I had a lifetime here in Ireland where I was a nun that was very poor and gave away everything, and then I died or something. So, and I was told by a psychic that this was a recent lifetime, and we don't have to get into past life stuff, but it's been a belief for me, the belief in lack. So I don't know if that's something we will talk more about here. But he says in the Course that the scarcity principle rules this universe. It's underneath the universe. It's the scarcity principle, which is the belief in lack. And the scarcity principle, even if you're rich, economically, if you're wealthy, it doesn't matter. It's still the scarcity principle, because he says that there is no order of illusion. Illusion is illusion. They're all the same thing. So even if you have a lot or a little, it's the same illusion, and it's the scarcity principle behind it. Because why would you gather wealth if you don't believe in lack, But if we face the belief in lack, we will find that we're truly rich, that we are everything, and we are one with everything, and we have everything, because what we have is what we are. It's our identity. So that's what we will land in. I would love this afternoon to be really practical, and I even feel, I call it a retreat because I realize it's so many hours. We're going to be together for many hours today, and then tomorrow even longer. So it's like a retreat. So if you want to join for both days, this can be very helpful, and we can go into very practical things about your own life and undoing. So I felt we can use today to become very practical and I can answer questions at any time. If any of you have a question, let me know. I know this is kind of deep stuff, and there can be a resistance coming up which make you feel a bit tired too. That's pretty common. Or if you've traveled long. Yeah. So would you like a break already now, or would you like to? You would like a break? Let's have a
just to walk around.
5-10 minutes break. Walk around. Have there? I think there is hot tea.
There's
water.
two kettles boiled there, and there's tea and coffee. But we won't leave it. You can have a break, but don't leave it too long.
That's okay.
Yeah, just 5-10 minutes. The toilet is downstairs.
Just stretch and I go ahead.
So, questions. There are some questions. We went through everything very fast. We have gone. I've given you all the answers there can ever be. Very fast. And what's your name?
Anne.
Anne had some questions.
Yeah, it was just, I suppose, the power of the mind and how that developed. And I know that was the beginning of separation. But why?
She asked me,
why did that happen?
why do we have the power? Why do we have the power? Why do we have power in the mind?
Yeah.
And
the power of the mind takes away that was the beginning of the development of our separation from love, from God.
Yeah, there is one power. There is only one power, and that is the power of love and the power of God. And when the mind believes it can separate, it takes that power and projects the universe. Because there is no other power to take. So it's like a misuse of power. That's why the Course talks about misdirected miracle impulses, because they're coming out into form. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we talked. I answered a question in the break, and. So the reason why the mind seems to stay away from God is fear, because thinking we can take the power of God and create a universe is very, very, very fearful. It's very scary to believe that we have such power. And the Course calls it the fear of miscreation. And the fear, and that even can be with us as we awaken. As we start to become miracle workers, we can be fearful of becoming miracle workers, because there's a part of the mind that still is not awake enough to know that you're not separate. So there is still fear. So there is the guilt in the mind that is huge because of the belief we can turn our backs to God. And that makes the mind feel very, very, very guilty. And many people I meet, they say, but I'm not feeling guilt. I'm not feeling that guilt. But it's kind of buried in the mind, and at times when you start to heal the mind, you can get in touch with the guilt. And the guilt is actually diluted in all special relationships. It's a lot of guilt in the special relationships. All concern you have about other people, about family members, or about your own body or your own person stems from that guilt of the separation. And then to try to fix it there, it's the problem. It's like maintaining it. actually, is to try to fix it in the form of those special relationships, or with your own body, or Jesus says in the Course, it's okay. You can use some magic, and if you're too fearful, to just heal by the power of the mind. So there's nothing wrong with it, but that's how it works. It's the guilt makes us, first of all, it makes all the special relationships up, or everything in the world that we surround ourselves with is coming from specialness, like our own preference, and in that we have hidden our guilt. So it's a diluted guilt there that sometimes seems to be joy, and nice time, vacation with the family, or and then a hard time, someone goes through something, or so it's a lot of mix. The guilt is mixed up and diluted, so it's not felt as guilt. It's
And what was the magic? You said something about Jesus and magic.
Magic.
What's the magic?
Magic is anything that you, for example, medicine or food, or
Okay, all right.
even clothes and houses is magic. Anything in form.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I went through a lot the first session that you missed. So
Yeah.
but you'll catch up. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, sorry, the question's finished or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just when the ego version of me can only see the ego version of someone else, like, I find it very hard to, I might be saying in my head, this person's my brother in Christ, she is as God created her, but I'm still just seeing her, the ego version of her, and I'm seeing through these body eyes. Is there some kind of I do kind of think, oh God, this is keeping me in separation, but how can I, give it over to spirit, give it to spirit, but I don't know, the next time something happens again, I'm again just seeing the ego version of her. Me ego is seeing the ego in this other person.
Yeah.
Kind of can't seem to, or it's some blind spot or something.
Yeah.
Is there a fast track or?
Yeah. Pray.
Pray, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So pray to spirit, is
Yeah.
it? Or?
Yeah. Go into your mind and really see it. Really kind of see what your mind is doing and what you believe and how you feel about it.
Okay.
And invite spirit. That's the prayer.
Okay.
Yeah. Work with your mind. That's the way. If the person you project onto, if the person that you see ego in is like a mighty companion, that is like someone who is also in the awakening and healing, and if they're open to that you share, it can be very powerful too to talk about it. To sit down and say, hey, I have this stuff come up with you, and I would love to talk about it. I would love to see in my own mind what it is, and just to bring it up. And but that works only if the other one is also open to it. Yeah. Usually it's not the case. So then it's just pray.
Right.
And prayer can be a constant experience too. So it's something, even in the Bible Jesus said, pray unceasingly, in your hearts.
Is it just sort of regular praying in a very simple way,
It's more.
Use very simple language.
Yeah, you use simple language or no language, or it's more like an experience of inviting the spirit.
Okay.
Yeah. But it can be with words or writing it down, or it can be. It can be many different ways, because prayer is really intention. You can equal the word prayer with intention.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
I'm wondering how much
much why are we talking about scarcity when there is so much abundance in the world?
Yeah. So the seeming abundance is also scarcity because it is form. It's the whole world is made of project. It's a form based, and if we believe in lack, we believe in wealth as well. But in the world of form, there can seem to be abundance and poverty, and there can seem to be a lot of desire to change it, to try to even it out and balance it out. But that is more like trying to fix illusion. It's like, if you give the illusion over to spirit instead, you will have peace. But if you try to fix the illusion, you're holding off something. You're holding God on hold, while you're going to try to fix your world and make it a better place. That was one of the interesting things with transcendental meditation when I was part of it. They want to make world peace. So that's why they invited me to America. They invited people from all countries, 2,000 women and 2,000 men, in the 2 golden domes to meditate separately 8 hours a day and create world peace, because they picked people from different countries and they said, you will, when you meditate, you create peace in your family and in your physical surrounding. So it's both the physical area of Fairfield, Iowa, and all the family members of all the people meditating. And everyone they think of, everyone they know, will be gained from this meditation factory. But that's really trying to change the world, and Jesus is giving us an easier way here with the Course. And he's saying meditation is okay, it's fine, you will reach the same goal because of the intention, but you can do it faster by forgiveness, by working with relationships. And that's what A Course in Miracles offers. A way to do it much faster. There was another question in the break. You were bringing up your little Bible, which I was very happy to hear about. She told about her big Bible and the little Bible. The big Bible is the Course book, and the little Bible is This Moment Is Your Miracle, which is a book I compiled for David together with my husband and the team. We worked together for 3 years and compiled all David's teachings into this little book. It's not very big, and it's a very helpful tool. You were saying.
Which book is it, Jen?
This Moment Is Your Miracle. Yeah. So that's, and we even went on book tour. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. We went on book tour this spring to share about this book in America. And this year has been a lot happening for me. This book was published in early February, and then we went on book tour, Greg and I. I was married to Greg for 4 years, since 2015. I met him in the Living Miracles Monastery in 2012. And then in August, September, we received guidance to divorce, to free the mind up even more and go into our next stages. And I'm still, sometimes I wear the ring and sometimes not, but still, it's like getting transferred to being completely married to spirit. So How are you all feeling? Any other burning question, or otherwise maybe we.
Just one
Yeah.
question. Why do the Course of Miracle people that are like David Hoffmeister and whoever, they don't have families, they don't have children? And is there a philosophy behind that?
No, there's no philosophy behind it, but it is more like you transcend the roles and
The role?
the roles,
Oh, yeah.
all the roles and concepts. So if you've transcended the role of father and mother, you're usually not going to be used in the role
Yeah.
anymore. So it's not that there aren't kids, because like I have a son, but it's like the spirit is orchestrating things in such a perfect way that they are. If someone has a child, then they will be taken care of. So it's not a philosophy to not have children, but it's most of us don't feel like it's helpful or guided because we give over our minds to be used in such a big way for so many people, that if we would be occupied with one person, with a child, it would, like, there is so much more that wants to come through. So that's more how it goes.
So it has nothing to do with not bringing children into this crazy world?
Not
Nothing to do with
really.
that.
It doesn't. I mean, there is. It's a good point. That I think it can be guided to have children, and it can be guided to not bring children to the crazy world. And I think it is an egoic. The ego is behind bringing children here, but it can still be guided and very healing and very helpful for someone, for an individual to go through something, and they can't go through it any other way, and it's a very helpful thing to have a child. But like in my case, I had a desire to be loved or needed. It started when I was 13. I really want a child so that I can be needed. And then when I was 19, I had a child, and nothing is out of order or out of place. Of course, we can't really think that it is a mistake. Some people think that, and then the children feel really bad. So you can't even say that it would be wrong to bring a child to the world, but the focus shouldn't really be there. The focus should be, how can I heal my mind? What is the fast way to heal my mind? And what is the best way for me to use my time? And it may or may not involve children. But that's another philosophy, that this is a sorry place, a bad place and dangerous place to bring a child into. But you have a lot to work with there, all the beliefs about the pain and the suffering and the hardships, and that there could be a risk in some kind of way, So there's so many beliefs to hand over, to see and hand over.
Well, I suppose if the script is written, every child that comes into the world is scripted.
Yeah, it's in the script. Yeah.
Isn't that in nature? Nature's way. That's all nature wants us to do, is procreate.
Yeah. So
That's
then,
one of our purposes. Not of everybody, of
Mm.
course, but
but nature, if nature is a projection, then
that too.
then it's like we can, at one point we'll start to ask, but what's the point? What's the meaning with multiplicity, or creating more in nature, or it's no real point in it. It's more like for us to hand over nature to the Spirit, the way we perceive it, the way we, and say how, okay, I love nature, or I believe in nature. How can we use this Spirit? Can you use it for my awakening? That would be the best way to go about it.
Our nature.
Our nature, yeah.
Our nature.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I assume you talk about the environment or nature. Yeah, but even your own nature, yeah. Your nature of being.
Human.
Right.
The humanness of us.
The humanness, yeah. Yeah, it's conditioning. We're conditioned to find a mate and procreate. And that's very deep. There's very deep-seated beliefs. That's why, yeah. But in enlightenment, or in a true self, there are no children and parents, and so. But yeah, the Spirit works with our nature, with our beliefs. So
yeah, like you said earlier, in different ways of how people come into a certain elevated understanding, like through food or yoga or a couple of other things you mentioned, that people move through this 70 or 80 odd years we have on this planet in different ways.
Yeah.
To ultimately move towards connection.
Yeah, the Spirit is, it's so beautiful. I never cease to appreciate the Course, because like what Jesus says is, I will provide, you will receive everything that you need, and I will renew it for as long as you need it, as long as it doesn't cause any harm to you or anybody else, or as long as it doesn't make you linger in time. So if any of those things don't make you linger in time, then they can be very helpful and used, for the healing and the awakening. And they can be necessary. They can seem to be necessary things to go through. Yeah. Thank you. What's your name?
Colette.
Colette. Are there more questions?
Not really a question, but rather a request. Could we explore a bit more the concept of forgiveness?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it all ties back into the metaphysics of that this is an illusion and a projection of the mind. So forgiveness as we are taught, good Christian faith and forgiveness, we can forgive, and Jesus in the Bible it says forgive 70 times 7 or something like that. Just keep forgiving. But it implies that something bad has happened and that you have to forgive things that happen to you, right? And the Course brings it up as, or the way it is, it's like, if I forgive someone that way, it's because I believe I'm so good. Out of my goodness, I can forgive that bad doing because I'm very loving, Jesus calls that forgiveness to destroy.
Yeah.
That's pretty firm. That's a pretty strong teaching. And I think it means that you make it real. You believe that you're better and they are out there and they are bad, and while he's saying instead, forgive them for what they did not do. Forgive because of your own belief in this concept. If, like, the concept of incest, for example, seems to be a very sad thing in this world. Very painful and just sad. And you can use that as an example because most people think, feels that's very painful. To how to work with your own pain. It brings up stuff for you. So work with that stuff it brings up and heal it in your mind. And then you will have no more pain around it. You can transcend all pain around anything through just allowing your own pictures and feelings and beliefs around it. And to really allow it. And a lot of people have built up such defense, especially if they've gone through it themselves, as a child or something. They try to push it away, and then maybe it's triggered through they see something on TV or hear something or a neighbor, or they are preoccupied with those beliefs, without being able to face it. So it's important to face and allow the feelings to come up. I know people who have forgiven incest and murder. One friend had a sister got murdered, raped and murdered, and she went to see the murderer and witness for his innocence in court. And the courthouse started to ask her questions. What is it? How can you? We know he did this. How can you say that he's innocent? But for her, she just saw innocence and she felt innocence, and she transmitted it to him. He felt innocent, and I think he was on death row, and I think he was taken. He was killed, because of his crimes. But his spirit. He had found liberation. He was innocent. So it's beautiful because also the radical thing here is there is no life in the body. There is no life on this planet, on the earth. Life is of the mind. So any belief of life in the body is a projection.
So I still don't, the way the body isn't real or whatever, I still don't really understand that this physical body isn't real.
It's hard to understand it.
Yeah, I don't fully understand that. It has been explained, but I don't understand.
Yeah, I shared about the tiny mad idea, everything earlier, but even in quantum physics, and they found there, or even in physics. So you consist of air or something. There is no matter in matter. So even that they have found. So if you believe in time, you believe in form. But I feel to get into practical. The metaphysics are profound, and I feel like I've shared them, and